To recreate this chandelier, there were a lot of changes made to several of the nodes mentioned in the tutorial videos linked in the skills doc. So I'll briefly go over some of the main changes that I had to make in order to recreate the chandelier using the newest Houdini version 18.5. So when we created this chain, we essentially used a box node and then transformed it to make it look a little more rounded, and then used the tutorial used a cookie node to cut out this hole, but in Houdini 18.5 it is now called the Boolean node, which works essentially the same. Practically just the name has changed, so that was one of the main changes. Additionally, a skin node was not needed to create these arms. In the tutorial, it showed that they used a sweep node along these points to create that sort of like solid arm look with these points that were made into circles. But now we can just select the skin cap function on the sweep node to show these little caps right here at the end, so it's not hollow anymore. By doing that, we save ourselves one node and just set that in the sweep node itself. Additionally, I also ended up using poly extrude to close the canopy itself. In the tutorial he used polyfill, but I saw in the discussion boards that poly extrude was used, so that was another change that I made. It's not necessarily an update, but I thought it would look a little smoother than what was shown in the tutorial. Additionally, when he mentioned the copying functions, since there was a lot of copying done for the arms, the candles, and chains and whatnot, he just mentioned a general copy node, but now there's actually 3 different copy nodes, and I used a copy stamp for the arms. So I created one arm and then stamped it over and changed it, and I just used a copy and transform for the chain so that I could copy the chain, translate it upwards, and rotate it a bit. So with that, the copy node has a little more nuance and more specific uses depending on the copy nodes, instead of just a general copy node that was in the older versions of Houdini. So overall, those are the main changes in recreating the chandelier, and other than that, the tutorial remained the same, where we recreated the arm first using a simple curve, and then creating the plates here, and then the candle with the detail in the wax with some sculpting, creating a fire that was a little bit transformed to look like it's moving, the bands on this stem of the chandelier, the canopy, and then the little ring for the chain. And then, yeah, so essentially all the other functions here, where we can change the number of arms and whatnot, that portion of the video remained the same. There were not any changes made there. Additionally, with the rendering, there was no changes there, so I was able to render the image here using the same steps as in the Houdini version. Yep, thank you for listening.